So first of all, Ritik,
Yes.
thank you so much for coming over and giving people to really find out a lot of things about INSEAD, about your experiences. It was awesome, fantastic working with you. And can you tell a little bit more about the current situation in terms of in the middle of COVID-19? You're pursuing MBA at INSEAD. How are things going for you? Tell us more about classes. Tell us more about campus opportunities. How is that treating you?
So yeah, as you can imagine, lots is happening. I'll divide it into two parts. So one is just the basic of classes and things like that. So INSEAD moved things online pretty quickly. And we've been attending classes on Zoom for almost 2 months now. So yeah, and Zoom, I think eventually, like initially we were missing the in-person interaction and things like that, but even we adapt as individuals. And with a lot of the features and stuff, it's pretty convenient. So we are able to still have in-person discussions within the groups. The Zoom has the breakout room facility. So even during a lecture, the professor sends us to breakout rooms in groups of 4, 5, whatever, to have discussions and then come back to the main room. So in that sense, it's the closest thing we could have had to the in-class experience, because that's also how our in-class lectures work very often. Even within our course mates, we found ways of connecting after to work on assignments together. So be it on Zoom, be it on Skype. INSEAD has actually given each of us a premium account on Zoom. So if we need to connect with classmates and just set up our own meetings and things like that after hours, like we can do it on our own, and we don't have to rely on somebody on campus to help us with that. The thing that did, I think, suffer in a lot of ways was recruitment season, because this was literally in the midst of the recruitment period when all of this happened. So P4, which is around March, April for our batch, is when recruitment happens, and which is typically a period on campus where we have 3 to 4 companies on campus every day, making campus presentations, giving you the networking opportunities, and all of that also moved online. Some companies adapted faster than others to be able to move it online. There were technical glitches and things like that. We didn't get those kind of networking opportunities like we would have if we were on campus. But you make do. So you have to go that extra mile on your own and figure out who to connect with. A lot of the people who spoke on behalf of their companies were a lot more open to people reaching out to them on email and on LinkedIn and things like that. And they were very open about it. And they said, feel free to reach out to me. And they gave like emails of 5, 6 people from their company who they were okay with, who were okay to answer questions afterwards.
Perfect. And with whatever is happening right now, where do you see the industry gearing up for hiring internationals, Priti?
Yes, that's a very tricky question. And honestly, I think it's country specific. It really depends. But on the whole, the sentiment that we're getting from recruiters is fairly positive. And actually, there's a caveat to that. These are recruiters who in general would have hired internationals. So even before this, it's not like every company was open to hiring internationals. There are a couple of top tier consulting firms in Singapore, for example, who from day one said that we will not be able to hire non-Singapore, non-PR. Right? So that's one scenario. In terms of other companies, a lot of them are still not sure what's going to happen in terms of visa regulations, immigration regulations, and things like that. So they are going ahead with recruitment, business as usual, and then they'll probably figure out the visa situation in a little longer. What a lot of companies are also doing is that they're giving you offers, but they'll figure out your joining date later. Or maybe you'll start working in a remote manner, and then eventually while they figure out your visa, then you'll be able to move. So far, the places where I've heard from fellow classmates where they've been able to get opportunities while needing a work visa, Dubai's been fairly responsive. London, a couple of people have been able to get offers from. But again, the thing is, their joining date is not defined. So that will depend on how this whole situation unravels.
Rithi, What suggestions do you have for people who are currently thinking of applying in round one and starting their MBA next year? Right, with the
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are tuned into checking the latest COVID-19 statistics and whatever is happening. What suggestions do you have for people for next year?
That was actually one of the questions because of which I said I'll do this call, because there's enough people reaching out to me on LinkedIn as well for INSEAD and people who already have offers, because INSEAD, among some of the other business schools, has given them the opportunity to defer if they want to. My point of view on this is that if you are in a job and a career path right now where you see yourself growing for the next year or so, by the time when hopefully we'll have some certainty in terms of what's going on with the world. There's no guarantee, but we can hope, right? Because right now we don't know anything. So if you have that sort of a career path, then go for it. Like, keep working and maybe do your MBA later. Or on the other side, what you can look at is look particularly at schools who do let you defer. So use the time to apply, because a lot of people, what they've said is that because they're at home, they have the time to prepare for the GMAT, they have the time to work on their essays. So either start working on all of that and apply, or at least get the groundwork ready, because this time during this period, you do genuinely have a lot of time. In terms of starting the MBA, it's a very, very personal decision. I do agree that being on campus, being in class physically with your classmates is a very, very important aspect of the MBA. For me as well, and for my classmates, we had about 6 months together before this happened. So we do have some sort of a rapport, we know each other. And now when we see each other on a Zoom class, you know the faces, right? So it brings a certain level of comfort. That may not be the same for somebody who starts their MBA virtually. So if it seems like this fall, the MBAs are going to start virtually and things like that, I would probably encourage people to maybe defer till Jan. Again, it's kind of like an indefinite defer, because you don't know when things are going to go back to normal and when campuses are going to open. But so that for people who have offers and they need to decide what to do, if you need to see what career path you have, and if you feel like this is exactly where an MBA fit in and you can still make the most of doing things virtually and things like that, just go for the MBA. If not, and your company is willing to make room for your growth over the next year, then defer it to next year. For people who are applying, just go ahead and apply anyway, or at least prepare your material to apply.
Awesome. Thank you.